Aloha and good evening. Welcome to the Libertarian Party of Hawaii Executive Committee meeting. We are getting started here at 7:06, Wednesday, March 25th. And I'll call this meeting to order and we'll get started. First of all, we have the roll call. Madam Secretary, do you mind calling for that?
Chair Martin,
Present.
Treasurer Zehr,
Present.
and I'm Abbra Green, Secretary, also present.
She'll also call for the members who aren't here. They're just formality. That's okay. So for Celina and Ken are absent.
Celina, Monge, and Ken Schoolland are absent this evening.
All right, excellent, cool. We do have a quorum. We can continue. We'll start by the approval of the February 25th, 2026 minutes. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Any objection to the minutes?
No objection.
All right, hearing none, passes without objection. I'll wait for the secretary to catch up just a bit. If anybody wants to make any additions or amendments to the agenda, feel free to go ahead and raise your hand or jump in. All right, any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll move us to a vote. Is there any objection to the agenda?
Nope.
Hearing without objection, agenda passes. Start with reports. Chairman reports for me. We have some deadlines that are beginning to approach for our candidates and for our party. We're definitely have some of that on the agenda today to deal with both volunteers and for campaign deadlines. We want to kind of send out the call, and I want to work with anybody who's willing. Celina's joining us. If you could add her to the roll call once she is in the room. Aloha, Celina, if you can hear me. Yeah, so we want to make sure that everybody's aware. We've discouraged candidates from filing early. One of the lessons learned in Hawaii is definitely hold as long as you can. And we've been encouraging candidate teams to start building your signature banks and databases now so that when you're ready and when you pull papers, you can hit the ground running and get those signatures immediately because you've already got them lined up. So that little bit of preparation goes a long way. So you're not chasing down signatures when it's time. And that does help a lot. You also want to make sure that you get a lot of signatures, as many as you possibly can. So you don't turn in your papers until the final day or two, or until you have greatly elapsed the number that you need. One way to take a candidate off the ballot is to remove signatories from their papers, and that is something we do not want to happen. So not just any signatures will do. There is a something to be said about quality. Anybody who's thinking about running, whether as a paper candidate or as a real effort campaign, I am more than happy to help. So feel free to reach out to me if you're thinking about running and you don't want to work with me. There is other people in this party who are more than happy to help you out, who can get you hooked up with whatever materials and whatever assistance you need. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. As far as things go with our initiatives, we are still kicking ass with the legislative session. We are still hitting tons of bills with both written and Zoom testimony. We're planning for an in-person um, kind of activism session at the Capitol that will occur kind of at the peak of the legislative cycle here, which will be great. And libertarians are encouraged to come and join us and pick the bills that matter most to you, that will be getting big votes, and help us help you get the outcomes that we need out of our government. As far as the SB 2054, 54, Defend Hawaii Act had a hearing today. It was unfortunate that they didn't call on me to answer the questions they were asking, because They just needed somebody to say that it doesn't give the governor any new authority that he doesn't already have. But it doesn't matter because thankfully most people are in support of this. And it was really great because I think Chair Tarnas and Representative Bellotti actually answered the questions well enough. So I kind of just stood on a written argument that I made to re-include some of the original language, which some of the representatives are in favor of doing, that would expand the governor's kind of established authority over both titles. So we've suggested those amendments, and we have support for that. So we have some cool legislative battles going on, and then we are ruthlessly throwing down in the electoral side of things, and we are going to hold people's feet to the fire kind of no matter what. So it's going to be really fun here, and we're going to have a blast depending on how many districts we can kind of occupy electorally. Um, Finally, we have some other local outreach efforts for our county parties that are going on, and we were going to be incentivizing in-person meetings and helping to potentially pay costs for any overhead that's necessary to get our members in the door and make things happen on a regular basis. We need to get back. COVID disrupted all the parties, and some of them went back to in-person meetings faster than others, and those that did benefited greatly. And I think it's a key part of what we need to pay attention to. Lastly, I don't see it on the agenda, but you know what? Actually, I'll save that because I think it's a question that needs to be asked privately before we announce it. But there's an award that we're contemplating nominating one of our members for. I'll save that until I'm absolutely sure. Madam Secretary, did I miss anything? And are there any questions for me from anyone? All right, hearing none, I will quit yapping at you guys and I will give the floor to the treasurer. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. The floor is yours.
All right. Hey, thank you. For the balances, I won't read those line by line. The significant change to the expenses for this past month has been Zoom. I believe this was the annual subscription, so that went back 177. Um, we have influx of $75 from PayPal that should be hitting our CSC account soon. FEC account, since the JFC has been no more and we haven't had any recent events using the FEC money, that balance has stayed consistent. Upcoming reporting deadlines. So if we project over the 1,000 for the year, which I think we're good for, we'll stay on continuous reporting for CSC since we have increased reporting for an election year. So our next reporting for that will be July 29th. FEC reporting, so our April quarterly will be due 15 April, so in a couple weeks. Nothing much to report on that one, but that's upcoming, so I will be on that. Switching over to legislative session, our hearing list is updated for what's going on. So we had a big influx. I believe it was 6 or 7 bills that were heard today. So I submitted testimony on that side. I know you all did. I believe I saw one update email come out today. So I'm going to shoot out a fresh update on Facebook for upcoming hearings that are on our tracker. So I still believe we're around 230 bills that we're tracking. Still working on the financial portion for any potential candidates running for this session, the financial side of it. Pending any questions, that concludes my report.
Any questions for Mr. Treasurer? Going once. Going twice. All right, Ms. Green, if you could continue us along the orders of the day.
Yes. First up is a motion for Star Cole to give her a membership for the year, based on her activism efforts so far. She actually helped us put in a whole bunch of flyers to fight the fluoride bills this year. And we had them covering helicide, like every water spout and every what do you call it, the health food stores and stuff like that. And then on top of it, she's also been gathering signatures for our Read Into the Law initiative and has been submitting testimony for Defend Hawaii. She's literally like, she's been contacting me every so often, every couple weeks. She'll say, "Hey, I have a few minutes or I have a couple days here. How can I help?" So I would like to move that we give her a 1 year membership subscription.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Discussion is in order. I can allow a non-member to speak if there's no objection from the members of this body, though any members that have discussion items would be heard first. Ms. Nguyen, if you'd like to speak, you may.
Yes, thank you for recognizing me, Mr. Chair. So, giving out honorary memberships for activism is highly irregular. So, typically, honorary memberships are given to people that have sacrificed themselves in some way, have been victims of the state, have been served jail time, have been to jail, or in many cases, people that have served the party, given their money and their contributions like for over 20 years. So doing some activism for a few years, it's highly irregular to give an honorary membership to that type of contribution. So this is going across all of the state affiliates in the country. Honorary memberships are just not given out willy-nilly. So I would highly recommend for you to be much more conservative about how you're giving out honorary memberships.
Understood. And just to clarify, you're aware this is not a lifetime membership. It is just an annual membership.
So my statement still applies for a 1 year membership. This is highly irregular.
All right. Thank you for your thoughts on that. I appreciate it. I'm sure the members will take that under advisement. All right. Is there any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, I can move us to a vote. And Secretary, could you do a roll call? Or would you like me to call for objection?
Is the roll call like me asking individual people what their vote is?
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that. Chair Martin, or sorry, you go last, huh?
Yes.
So,
sorry, I know we've been unanimous a lot lately. And I was handling roll calls before that.
all right, Celina Monge,
Yes.
Nicholas Zehr.
Yes.
I vote aye, and Austin Martin.
I will abstain. Motion passes. All right, excellent. Cool. Abbra, once you're ready, we can go ahead and open up the next topic. Excellent.
All right, the next two kind of go hand in hand. I do want to mention specifically the deadline for election observers is July 18th. And then we also have the deadlines for election that we can go over together. If it'll load for me. There
It's
we go.
the Office of Elections calendar. Yeah. Excellent.
Yes. So candidate filing ends on June 2nd. The deadline to withdraw candidacy is June 3rd.
Yeah, and they do that on purpose so that you cannot leverage your candidacy as a third party or as a primary candidate. They want to turn it into a top two state, by the way, guys. And I'm sorry, I might be um, veering off just a little bit, but if they pass that, there's several bills that, if passed this year, they would have immediate impacts on ballot access for all parties, including Republicans. Actually, it's a bit of a nightmare. If anybody wants more information about that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't know if there's too many other big dates here coming up. Some of these
We
are
want
very specific to like certain situations, but
Yes. If one thing that I really want to focus on for our candidates and candidate teams, we really want to encourage them to volunteer to help us work the polls and watch the polls. That's a really important thing that we want to make sure that we have libertarians present for that process. It also is going to be helpful in giving kind of a broader view and useful session for people who are, engaged in this process. If we can get good support teams, and the reality is, we don't have an army of foot soldiers to do a lot of the stuff. So what we'll end up doing is probably having a support team that overlaps and works with, multiple people in the party who are, working towards the same ends. Um, at least that's what I'm considering to keep things simple. Cool. Abbra, any further information that we need on these deadlines? Part of this is for the benefit of our candidates and other members who may be involved. All right. Excellent. So again, the call is out for observers and poll watchers, and the election filing deadlines are available. We will move along to the next item of business unless there are any motions based on these items.
Hey, Austin, real quick.
Yes.
Hey,
Mr.
yeah, just wanted to update going back to what you're talking about. A couple bills introduced in legislative session. I haven't seen. I know the ones you're talking about. I haven't seen those advance, so that hopefully is a good thing.
I'm really relieved to hear that, and hopefully, yeah, hopefully we don't have any resurrections from the discard pile this year, because there were some nightmares that we dodged. And thank you. Yeah, hopefully everything should be static, assuming that ballot access rules stay the same and they don't change the game on us. We should be good until 2028. Isn't that right, Mr. Zehr?
Oh, sorry. Yes, that's correct.
Right on. This year does matter, and the more that we can net of the vote this year, the easier it is for our party, and the longer that we extend that. Currently, we are set until 2028, so we have a pretty good situation here with ballot access. However, them wanting to change the rules is kind of a curveball, so we'll see how that goes. Okay. Any further questions or discussions on these items? Any motions from members? Going once, going twice. All right, moving on. We have a resolution opposing military intervention in war with. I'm sorry, Madam Secretary, I'll let you announce this. I believe this is actually from one of our members, correct?
it is. We have a long-time member who requested that we put out a statement about the war with Iran, and he was particularly pleased with ACLU's that they put out. And recently, Austin already passed this on the LNC level as a resolution. So I basically just changed the language to fit the Libertarian Party of Hawaii. Do you want me to read it out loud?
If there's a request from members to do so, then we can. Otherwise, I will assume that members have read and are familiar with this. The one thing is to ensure that this is the fully updated version that includes. Yes, there it is. Okay, so yeah, it started on February 28th. Okay,
Yes,
that
I
looks
did
good.
add the amendment in. Yeah.
Right on. Cool. Yeah, I wish I'd moved this earlier, and you guys have my apologies for not introducing this at the same time in our state committee. That was an oversight on my part, and a big thank you to Mr. Kevin. I see you're not with us tonight, but I am assuming that you will watch and catch up online. So I just wanted to thank you for suggesting this, and I'm more than happy to do it here. Um, cool. Any discussion on this?
Hey, Abbra, I like this a lot. Um, I read through it and had a couple ideas to add if you're okay with me emailing it to the group. Um, a comment on the authorization for use of military force. Um, let's see, adding a national security base argument, talking about blowback, and adding a section on cost to Americans, and maybe something that's like adding like a clause for respect to service members to show it's an anti-war policy, not an anti-military policy. Just a couple, yeah, couple thoughts there.
You would you like to amend this in meeting or send it to email ballot?
If I may, I'm amenable to all of those things. They all sound good, but going through it in the meeting might be time consuming. I'm happy to
Yeah,
move it to an email ballot, but if you want to, we can do it now.
I'm definitely good not doing it now.
Okay, no
Or we don't
problem.
need to because I think this looks great as it is too.
I really don't mind if we want to put a little bit of spin on it. So feel free to postpone this to an email ballot, or feel we can either way. I am totally flexible.
Yeah,
Is
I
there a
like it.
second on this?
Who,
Oh, sorry.
who's the audience like that we're gonna send it out to?
We're going to definitely put it on our social medias and on our blog, our website. We're going to also try to go ahead and put this through anywhere where it might be relevant in our legislative activism. That's kind of an if. With our SB 2054 fight, there is a chance that some defend the guard language could make its way back into the bill. And assuming that that happens, this would then kind of be more relevant. But I doubt that it will honestly get presented to the legislature unless there is something that changes. Um, more to the point, it would also be something that we could send to local media outlets, though I would probably want to appoint a point of contact to do so.
Cool. Thanks.
No problem. Do we want, or just to clarify, are we making the motion to do the amendments via email ballot, or are we moving this now?
Um, uh, Let me answer Nick a little more thoroughly on that too. Mr. Mulkern specifically asked if we might stand beside ACLU in their resolution. So I might do like an email to them directly to saying, hey, good job, we support this. I can send you guys a copy of that too when I open up the email ballot. So yeah, I think that would probably be the best route so that we all have the same information we're working off of.
I like it. Okay. Mr. Zehr, is that acceptable to you too?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, then there is a motion to move this to an email ballot for further discussion and amendment. Is there a second? Looking for a second. Going once.
Second, my mic wasn't working.
You're good. No worries. All right, cool. We have a motion and a second. Excellent. All right. Any further discussion? Or wait, does this get discussion? This is a motion to postpone, so no discussion, I think. If there's no objection to that, I will go ahead and move us directly to a vote. All right. All those in favor of moving this to an email ballot? Actually, let me just ask, is there any objection? Hearing none, passes without objection. This item of business is moved to email ballot. Cool. The next item of business is a judicial committee amicus. I will go ahead and introduce this since I am taking point on this. I
We
will
have a
be
hand.
right on. Thank you very much. I will be sending a amicus to the judicial committee. I think that this is a really important issue right now. The LNC is waging full-blown war on membership rights. They are, without process, without hearing, and without trial, issuing disciplinary actions against members, including myself and others, against the bylaws. They are attempting to engage in what I believe is bad faith litigation against former members. And regardless of how you feel about the chair, I think it is really, really important, the former chair, that we honor the process and that we make sure that if we're going to do this, that we do it the right way. And that was not done here. And they want to ignore that. And instead of fixing those issues and going back and doing proper fact finding, they're trying to move full steam ahead with things that, in my opinion, it's really not even an opinion, it's a black and white verifiable reality that if they proceed with the course that they want to go on, we will be in an existential crisis where it is not guaranteed that there will be another convention after this one. It's an extremely bad situation. If you think I'm exaggerating, please call me and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. But in my capacity of chair, I intend to write a letter to the LNC from our board, and I wanted to encourage and give the members an opportunity to either object or sign on to this communication. So I wanted to give you advance notice before I do so because obviously, the LNC stuff is super controversial. I will be looking for other parties to support this as well. We have a really serious situation on our hands, and I think it needs to be dealt with. Not just in a corner, but in the wider party, and get the state parties involved with their opinions. This is not in its absolute final form, and it's not going up for a vote tonight. This is to let you know what I intend to do and welcome your involvement or any suggested edits or your opinions about it before we finalize and move forward with that. With that, I can open up the floor, and I believe there's a hand already up. Whoops, I just typed the wrong button, but from memory, I think Kelly had her hand up. If there's no objection from members, I will give her the floor and recognize her. Kelly, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for recognizing me. This amicus is yet another waste of time. So the LNC has already moved to take immediate civil litigation against former Chair Angela McArdle because she has embezzled $114,000 from the National Libertarian Party.
I'm gonna just stop you right there.
The litigation is already moving forward, and you've already introduced with Hector Roos to the judicial committee of the LNC, and they have rejected you. And
No,
I would
excuse me,
recommend
Kelly.
for all members to go and look at the SIC report, go and look at Jake Porter's report on Substack, and go find out the information on whether or not Angela McArdle really did embezzle $114,000 from the Libertarian Party. This is no small amount of money. And the national members from all over the country are very angry about this. and a lot of them have pulled their contributions from the National Libertarian Party because they don't appreciate the LNC not catching this quicker. They don't appreciate the chair embezzling over $100,000 of money. They don't appreciate you wasting the LNC's time with this nonsense. The litigation is already moving forward, and that's that. Like, we want to see subpoenas, we want to see like what really happened, and we want to see records, and we want to see transparency with what happened during Angela McArdle's chairmanship. So this is a total waste of time. You're trying to defend Angela McArdle it's the receipts and the evidence of her doing this is so overwhelming that this is just a complete and total waste of time. And I don't even
I'm the
know why
embezzler too,
LPHI
right?
is even involved in this. So I highly recommend for all the members of this board and all members of LPHI to go and review that SIC report and to really find out, what is really happening. And you can contact me too, because I know the information extremely well. And
No, you
I
don't.
didn't want this to be true. I was Angela McArdle's cheerleader. And it was very disheartening to find out that what she had done financially to the Libertarian Party. So this whole thing needs to come to an end, and we just need to let the LNC move forward with their litigation.
Thank you, Kelly. All right. Just to correct a few things on the record. Number one, litigation, if I can help it, will not be moving forward because you won't get answers that way. All that it is continuing the pattern of infighting and party destruction. Two, Angela has lawyers, and there's no evidence of embezzlement, contrary to the popular defamatory claims against her. And that's the problem. I would know because I've actually seen the data, unlike all the social media influencers and feds putting this stuff out online. Number three, maybe most importantly, right, the litigation that's currently being done, there's a lot of really questionable stuff happening in the LNC to try to change the delegate allocations at convention and tie state litigation of importance to our trademark to the McArdle litigation in order to basically make sure that if we don't sue McArdle, that we end up with a like party divorce situation between states. So we're getting a really, really bad look at how this is going with a lot of very, nasty gamesmanships going on. And just because they think that the case against McArdle is so strong does not mean that we should throw our rules in the trash. We have defense rules like due process for a reason. It's something that we foundationally stand for. So whether you think McArdle is an embezzler or not, I think it's important that if we're going to make that determination, that it be made in the right way. I'm saying this because I think it's ridiculous that we're trying to sue a former chair, and again, the $114,000 number, they just keep changing their tune. But they're all on the same hive mind, receiving the same wavelength, and I would encourage you, go check it out. The SIC is full of contradictions, but it's 94 pages, and they know you're not going to read it. So at the end of the day, it was a call center that they really want to characterize as a crime. They're doing the same thing to me, and the member that just spoke accuses me of embezzlement too. It's something they do to all effective libertarians these days. So it's a little bit ridiculous, and I'm just going to say that and bring myself back to order here. Anybody who has an opinion on that, if you have an objection to that as a member, you are more than welcome to reach out to me. You are more than welcome to voice it for the record. I'm not interested in infighting, but I am interested in making sure that NAP violations are not something that we turn a blind eye to. And that includes fraud and abusive process. Is there any further discussion or motions on this issue before we move on?
I have a point of clarification that maybe you could answer.
Sure.
This narrowly discusses the disciplinary action that was incorrectly brought in a special meeting. Is that correct?
Yes. So it'd be the equivalent of what they did would be like saying that your defense in court is you got to talk to the investigating police officers. And since you chose not to talk to the cops, we're going to consider that as evidence of guilt. and not give you any opportunity to make a case to the decision makers that are actually judging the case. And that's a fundamental like flaw in the due process. There's also big factual issues with the report too, that violate our principles on their face. But I'll avoid digressing into that. Does that answer your question, Ms. Green?
I believe so. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and move us along. The contentious issues are not the focus of our state party. And yes, Mr. Treasurer, I totally agree. Due process is essential, not optional. And even if it's somebody, even if I thought Angela was red-handed guilty, there's zero reason to trash our principles in order to get her. We could do it the right way. There's, there's literally no obstacle here. Anyway, moving along. Any other objections, notice, motions, anything that anybody wants to call on this topic before I move us along? All right, moving along. Cool. Abbra, do you want to introduce the next one, please?
Yes. The chair of the Hawaii Doge Committee, Kevin Mulkern, asked us to put out a call to action, which I will be drafting and putting in the next newsletter and probably doing a couple of blog spotlights on. We want to start hearing from our community on positives and negatives of the people's experience with their government. We want to know if there's any good praise stories or if they've witnessed any waste, fraud, or abuse. And I'm still kind of workshopping that with him a little bit. We're trying to decide if it's best in like a Google form or a direct like email us type thing or what have you. But that is in the works. And then I'm just going to move right into the next topic if nobody has any questions on that.
I was just going to chime in. I would say there's some other efforts that are spanning multiple parties that are interested in the same thing that it would be really fun to try to connect them. Although I don't know if we could do it under that label.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was not sure if we should, like, if it's beyond our scope or not to ask for, nationwide type surveys. But I do know that he's extremely disheartened with the Libertarian National Party, who asked him to, volunteer for this and then had no support, no backing, no communication afterwards. And so I do want to try to support him in this effort and to try to kind of, get the ball rolling any way we can. But I also don't know how much reach we would have outside of the state. So those are some things to consider.
Right on. Right on. Okay. Is there candidate handbook formation? Abbra, is that the next thing on the agenda?
We have a draft begun. I have just a bullet point outline, kind of like how our standard working drafts start, and I'm slowly starting to fill it in. But any volunteers who are willing to help on that, even if it's small, like just checking the sources or adding a section here and there, helps me a lot. So I think that's probably the sum of that one. I know, Nick, you're probably already working on something we can kind of collaborate with on this on the financial compliance side, so that's good.
Right on. All right, before after adjournment, we will allow a time for free form discussion, provided we can keep it civil. But I think we're at the end of the agenda, so this is an opportunity for members if you want to make a motion or bring up any discussions or anything like that. Now would be the time. I'll also entertain a motion to adjourn since we are at the end of our business.
Hey, Austin, real quick to Abra's last point for the candidate handbook. For the financial, I could make that just a larger section to incorporate into the handbook if that works. no need to have a whole bunch of documents.
Excellent.
That would probably help.
That would
That way
be
we can kind of just streamline it all and have it all in one place.
right on. Cool. Any other, announcements, motions, anything like that? Cool. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Is there a second? I'll second it. Any objection to
I
adjournment?
could second. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. We'll let Nick second it. Cool. Any objections to adjournment? All right. Hearing none, we are adjourned, and we can circle back if you guys want to chat. To Miss Nguyen's point, the main reason for the amicus being through the party is not just about it's not just about due process. While that's really important, there is oh, hey, Celina, sorry, your mic's not working. Did you miss the opportunity to say anything that we need to say? If you need to reconnect, that's fine. We can figure it out. I see you said no, I'm good. I'm sorry. If you ever have that problem, just don't hesitate to let me know. We'll pause for you and make sure we get any of that worked out. The big worry for me is a affiliate autonomy violation because the SIC and its appurtenant disciplinary actions um, say that the state parties should not associate with Miss McCardle, any organization that she's associated with, or Austin Paget, or any of them. And it's super dubious. And just because you can spam the Google feeds with your side of the story to get AI to parrot you doesn't mean that that's actually the truth of what's going on. It's just a convenient political astroturf method, and they can't use that to tell our state party that you can't have this person as a member, or you can't have this person on a position of authority or whatever, right? Because that's not National's job, and it violates the bylaws in a profound way. So that's another reason why, regardless of guilt or innocence or anything like that, we have to oppose um, what they've done here, because it sets a precedent that could just literally shut us down on a whim. And they are demonstrating a willingness to do that.